Hey everybody, we are live. I'm Duff with eBay Addicts, and today I got a returning guest here with me, Zach from Utahn Bought and Gone. How are you doing today, Zach?
Great, man. How are you doing?
Oh man, awesome, awesome. Thanks for coming on and hanging out with me. First of all, go ahead and introduce yourself real quick. Tell everybody who you are, where you're from, and what you do.
My name is Zach. I live out here in Utah. My handle is Utahn Bought and Gone. Been full-time reselling for about 10 months, roughly, and super passionate about it. I do eBay and Amazon, and yeah, absolutely love what I do. So super passionate about it.
Yep. And so, guys, this isn't planned, but me and Zach are actually wearing matching shirts. We're both wearing black shirts. So I don't have a Nike check on mine, but just what's the odds of that? We're both wearing a black T-shirt today. So today, we are here hanging out with Zach, catching up with them. Tell me everything that's been going on with your life lately, man. You've recently just hit 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. You just had a kid recently. You've been a full-time reseller now for, I don't know, 10 months now, and you've been able to quit your full-time job to become a full-time reseller. So kind of tell us what's been going on in your world lately, bro.
It's been eventful, that's for sure. So I got my son came 2 weeks early. We weren't planning for him till 11/11, and so he came 2 weeks early. Me and the wife actually went thrifting, and then I don't know if that induced labor, but I guess he just decided to come out. So he came 2 weeks early, we were super excited to see him. But yeah, I mean, I'm trying to get into a few rental properties right now. I'm actually planning to get one in the spring, and been just taking care of business, working a lot, and but I love what I do, so it doesn't feel like work. So
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Awesome. So Zach is a full-time reseller. He resells on eBay and Amazon, and you recently, in the past year, was able to kind of quit your full-time job. So talk to us a little bit about what your journey was like, real quick, just because in case people don't know what your journey was like. Let's kind of go and talk a little bit about what that was like for you, because you were working your 9 to 5 job, and then you got to the point where you're just like, man, I'm ready to leave this place, put my 2 weeks notice in, peace out, and become a full-time reseller. So tell people a little bit about what your journey was like. I'm going to put you on full screen.
okay, yeah. So I was working my 9 to 5. Been there for about 2.5 years. It was a sales job, and everything was going good. But in 2019, I started getting obsessed with Dave Ramsey, if you guys know Dave Ramsey, and actually decided to start a side hustle. And I already did eBay on the side a little bit, but I decided to really go at it, tackle our debt. And then COVID ended up hitting, and so my work that I was at started slowly laying people off, and I didn't know what was going to happen. So decided to tackle our debt and decided to save up for another property because I wanted to move and rent out our old place. So once the debt was paid off, everything else was just going to be saved. And we ended up putting 5% down on this house that I'm in right now, and rented out the old house. And now we're cash flowing on that. And it just helps with this mortgage here. And was able to quit, which was an amazing feeling because eBay doesn't even feel like work. Oh, are you still there?
I'm here. Go ahead. Continue.
Hold on. I lost you. Hold on.
I'm here, Zach. I'm here. Keep going, bro.
Kicked me off. There we go. Okay.
I'm right here.
But, yeah. So where was I at? I apologize. I lost the screen.
We were talking about how you were basically a normal person. You were working your regular 9 to 5 job. You had your sales job at this hospital, and then eventually you were listening to Dave Ramsey, and you were like, man, we've got to do something. I've got, we've got to get these car notes paid off. We got to get our credit card bills paid. And you're like, we got to get our house in order and get out of debt. And then, after you were able to kind of get all your ducks in a row and get out of debt, you were able to get to the point where, you had no debt. You didn't have any car payments. You didn't have, all these student loan debts. You didn't have that sword of Damocles hanging over your head. And you had an emergency fund set aside. So you're eventually, over time, you were able to get out of debt and kind of leave your corporate job to become a full-time reseller. So Zach doesn't have a traditional job now. All he does is work as a full-time reseller, is reselling on eBay and Amazon. So we were just kind of catching up and talking a little bit about what your journey was like. So go ahead, continue.
Yeah. So ended up quitting my job and started doing eBay and Amazon full-time. And I've been super into it. I mean, I love what I do. So I feel like I work quite a bit, but when you love what you do, it doesn't really feel like work. Right. And ended up finding a good source for my books. The guy ends up bringing them to my house, which is super nice because I pay $100 per pallet, and every week he brings me like 2 or 3 pallets, and then me and the wife just hang out in the garage, go through them, pull out the good ones, throw the duds away, And yeah, I mean, it's been great income for, you know, both eBay and Amazon. So super happy.
Cool. Let's give a shout out real quick to the Hoogs are here in the chat. I was hanging out with them. I was with them with the Buffalo Picker Show last week. So if you guys get a chance, you can check out the Hoogs. I think they're going to be on soon with Baldy Pal Pickin'. So thanks for coming by and hanging out. And I wanted to say hey to Misha Ray is here. Says hey Jeff and Zach. And I wanted to give a shout out to the Hoogs. If you guys have questions for our guests, go ahead and drop it in the chat. That's why we do these live stream chats. So if you have any questions or you want to get to know our guests better, go ahead and drop it in the chat. So I have a ton of questions for you, Zach. So tell everybody a little bit about what your strategy is like. Because when you go buy, let's say hypothetically, you buy a pallet of books, let's say for $100. And I don't know how many's in this pallet. Maybe, I don't know, 400 or 500 books are in this pallet, 1,000. I mean, I guess it would depend on if they were paperback or hardback or how big they were, how much space they took up. But, on average, you're going to probably have, I don't know, 80, 90% of them are probably duds that aren't really worth sending in to Amazon FBA. So on an average, if you spend $100 on a whole pallet of books, how much money do you think that you could potentially make in profit or, from sales from that pallet? Because I know each pallet of merchandise is going to be different, but just like a rough estimate.
Yeah, I did a couple videos on it. But I average between like $500 and like $1,000. It really depends on the pallet. Sometimes I'll get video games in there, which, obviously, like I've found video games that are worth like $80 to $100. Like, it just kind of depends. And so, but on average, I'm at least making $500 on a pallet, and then it could go up to $1,000. It just really depends. But I do have a few videos out if you guys ever have time to check those out.
All right. So what do you do with your duds of you went through a whole pallet? Let's say, I don't know, just for a hypothetical, let's say there's 500 books in there, and out of the 500 books, maybe 50 of them were good, and the rest of them were not good to resell. What do you do with the ones that are not good to resell? Because obviously, you can't just have 10 big pallets of just books everywhere filling your garage up. You got to offload them somewhere. So what do you do with the ones that are duds that aren't worth reselling?
Well, luckily I have a truck. So when we going through the books, we just toss them in the back of the bed. And around, I don't know if these bins are only in Utah, but there's these donation bins for books, and they're all over the valley over here in Utah. And so we end up just unloading them into these bins. And I feel bad for whoever's bins these are, but I mean, I don't know what their plans are. I don't know if they're getting them back into schools or they're donating to shelters or whatever, or maybe sending them overseas. But that's what we do with all our duds. We just load them up into these bins, and they're all over the valley here. So, I mean, we may fill up one or two of them, with, one pallet. But I mean, it's crazy that luckily we have this source to get rid of them, because other than that, I don't know what we would do.
Yeah. Well, the reason why I bring this up, because Zach says that he basically does eBay full time and Amazon is his part-time hustle, and he makes enough money just reselling books on Amazon to pay his mortgage every month. So that's why I'm bringing this up, guys. So if you're interested and you want to know more, I want to pick your brain real quick about books, because we want to talk about how do you go about scanning the barcodes. You want to look up the sales rank, and how do you determine how much profit you're making on these books to determine, like, okay, this is worth sending in. This pile over here is the junk pile, So how do you decide if this is the good pile, this is the reject pile? Talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I have an app called Scout IQ, and it's $14 a month, or you can pay for the whole year up front, which is breaks it down to like $10 a month. They give you a discount, and that way when you're scanning books, you can just set like a certain, I guess, price range, rank, and things like that. It'll tell you if the book is good to go. So I have it on a certain rank that I don't want it past a certain price. And so I usually send in everything that's like $2 or more in profit. And so I'll just sit there and scan and wait for it's kind of almost like a ka-ching sound. And if it's not worth any money, it goes like, it's like a, you know what I mean? It's not worth any money. So I'll just sit there and scan and wait for that ka-ching sound. Then I'll put it to the side. And yeah, I mean, as you were saying before, I mean, maybe 10% of those books are worth money. So out of the 1,000 books that are in one pallet, like, you know what I mean? Like there's maybe 100 that are good. So, but yeah, Scout IQ is the best app. I mean, I know there's a few other apps out there, but I've used Scout IQ for about a year now, and I absolutely love it. And it's not too expensive. Definitely worth the money, because if you find one book worth, $14, like you made your money back for that month. So that's why I love it.
Yeah, and so Amazon is a little bit different than eBay. So instead of looking up your sold comps for the past 90 days, with you can look on Amazon. They have a sales rank, and the lower the sales rank, the quicker that book will sell. So we're just trying to give you guys a little bit of a idea. So if you're like, man, I've called around, I've got pallets of books into my house, now what do I do? So I just wanted to kind of talk about that. So basically, you flip them over, and you can either scan the barcodes. I don't have a book in front of me, or I would show you, but they have little barcodes on the back, the ISN number on the back of these books, and you can scan these books in, and then on the app will tell you, like, okay, if it's a dud, it won't make a noise, but if it's good, it'll say like a ching, like the eBay app does, and you're like, okay, I want to put this in the keep pile, and this over here is on the reject pile. So the reason why I'm bringing this up, because Zach, how much is your mortgage every month where you live at?
My mortgage is $23.50 roughly.
Yeah, and so you make enough money selling books on Amazon to basically cover your mortgage every month. So that's why I'm bringing this up, and that's mainly all he sells on Amazon is books, and he's able to do this basically part-time as a side hustle out of his garage in his house. So if Zach is able to do this, you guys can do this. So let me jump in here to the chat. Flippy McFlipperson is here. Hey, man, I hope you're doing well. He says, Zach, how much do I need to give you to give your pallet contacts? So we got to get to the source here.
Yeah, so, I've gotten that question so many times, and I wish I could help everybody but like this guy's only in Utah, and so I mean, all I can tell you is tell people what you do, because I ended up meeting this dude in a thrift store. Actually, I didn't even meet him. I met someone that knew him, and then I exchanged contact information with that guy, and he gave it to this dude. So like I was just being open at a thrift store. So I mean, that's all I could tell you is just share what you do.
Yeah, it's just important to network with other people, even if they're other resellers, because believe it or not, other resellers, they have a bunch of inventory that's dead stock, just like, thrift stores or, other retail stores do. They have a whole dead stock of merchandise in their shed or garage somewhere. So I promise you, if you just reach out to your competitors or just talk to people and just say, hey, how you doing? You never know what kind of relationships you can build up with people. I want to say hey to the Flippin' Sports guy. Says, hey, Jeff, Zach, Misha, and the Hoogs. Wanted to say hey to Misha. The Hoogs are here in the house. Flippy McFlipperson. Flippin' Sports guy says, we have a lot of those bins now. I see the clothing ones. Yeah. So if you got some questions for our guests, go ahead and drop it in the chat. So Zach, I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about what your journey was like for you since you left your full-time job to become a full-time reseller now. What is it that you are looking for? Like, what are some of the items that you sell? I know we mentioned books. You said you want to have at least a $2 profit margin on books. And then I assume you're boxing them up and you send them into Amazon FBA from that point, or what?
Yeah, everything's Amazon FBA. I mean, I send in probably 4 boxes a week, roughly, into Amazon. If I was keeping those in my house doing FBM, that would be horrible. Because I don't have the storage for that. So yeah, everything is going to FBA.
Okay, cool. And so you're saying as long as you get at least $2 profit, you'll send it in. If you can't get at least $2 profit, you send it into the dud pile, because with Amazon, you still have fees. They have pick and pack fees. They have storage fees for storing it in the warehouse. There's fees associated with it. So you've got to have enough margin there for it to be worth it. And Zach's able to make enough money reselling books to basically pay his mortgage every month. So, but your bread and butter is mainly selling on eBay. So talk to me a little bit about what is like your niche that you kind of concentrate on selling on eBay, and talk to us a little bit about that.
I mean, I do a little bit of everything. I mean, I mainly do hard goods, I guess you could say. I've been slowly getting into clothing. I hate listing it. So my wife, she actually has been going thrifting with me, and she has her own eBay account. So every time we find like Lulu or something, we find something cool, I give it to her and she lists it. And so she doesn't mind it and she enjoys it. So her eBay is just like mainly clothing and stuff like that. And then I do everything. I do like shoes, I do electronics. I mean, I could do hats. I mean, just everything else besides clothing, because I just hate doing listing clothing. So.
Okay. And so when you go to the thrift store, like what section you go to first? You go to the shoe section, electronics, like what is like the first thing that you're like gravitated to?
Probably the sunglasses.
All right.
Yeah, I find a lot of good money in sunglasses. If you guys, I posted a video about a week ago about the top 25 brands. I mean, so much money in sunglasses, and I feel like nobody's really looking at those at thrift stores, and they're easy to find, easy to package, and there's some good profit in there.
Yeah, I'm always worried that the sunglasses might have like scratches on the lenses, just like how video games could be scratched up or something. But I guess you just have to look at them, and a lot of times they're like behind this like little glass case. So I guess if you just look for them, you can buy and profit there. what kind of profit margins do you typically look for when you're at the thrift store looking for stuff to flip to sell on eBay?
I guess it kind of depends. So, I mean, if I find like a TI 83 plus like calculator, I pay $5 for it, which after like I can sell it for like $30 free shipping, and I know that it will sell in like a day or two. Like I'll pick that up. But if it's something that's like glass that I'll only make like $15 on, I'll totally pass on that. So that's kind of a hard question. It kind of depends on the item.
Okay, now I got to talk to you about this. I was following you on Instagram the other day. Tell people about this Nintendo Wii that you sold recently.
Oh yeah, so I should get on Facebook more often, you guys. If you guys aren't checking Facebook Marketplace in your guys' area, there's like free money people are giving it out to you. You just got to get on there and find the stuff. So I ended up finding a sealed Wii console, and the guy, he says, like, yeah, my dad bought it and never used it. And he's like, he was asking $100. I offered him $80 and he took it, and it probably took about 3 months to sell, but I ended up selling it for $460 free ship, and so after like shipping and fees and everything, I ended up making, I think it was like $315. So it was a great flip.
Yeah, so you guys don't know, I do follow you guys on YouTube and Instagram, and because I want to come across these deals because it's like, hey, it helps you to kind of think outside the box. So if you're not looking like in your local classifieds, like on OfferUp or Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace, you could be passing up deals like that where he spent $80 for this Nintendo Wii set and turned around and flipped it and made like $300 profit pretty quick. And you didn't have to do a lot of, it's still new in the box. You didn't have to do a lot of cleaning or testing or any of that stuff. So what would be some of the bigger flips that you've done lately flipping on eBay? Because everybody always asks, they always want to know like what's like your biggest flip of all time,
Well, did you see that Super Soaker I sold about a month ago?
I heard about it. I didn't see it, but I heard about it.
Yeah, so I sold this Super Soaker. It was like brand new in the box, but it was like I think it was from like around 2000. I don't know how old it was, but the box had water damage, but it was still like, it was still in the zip ties. It was brand new. And I think I paid $3 for it at a garage sale, and I ended up selling it for $600. And it sold in like a week. And I probably should have listed a little higher. But I thought $600 for a Super Soaker was high. And so I was like, oh, I'll list it, this high and see what happens, and end up selling pretty quick. So yeah, Super Soakers are good money, especially if they're older and brand new.
Yeah. So Zach, I got to put you on the spot here a little bit. I was watching your interview you had with Flip the World like a month or so ago, and you were talking about your goal is eventually, besides just reselling, because that's great. I want everybody to be successful and flip and make money on eBay and Amazon, but it's like, what do you do with this money after you receive it? Like, how much of that money do you actually, spend on, a car or paying your bills or on a vacation versus how much money do you actually take and invest? And you were talking about your goal is over the next 10 years is you would like to buy one rental property per year. So if you did that for 10 years, by the time you're 40 years old, you would have like over 10 rental properties that are all generating positive cash flow. And, basically you'd be like basically semi-retired at 40 years old. I mean, you could go out and go to thrift stores and yard sales and estate sales. Basically it's a hobby, but you wouldn't have to do it like to pay your bills. So I want to kind of put you on the spot. Tell me a little bit about what your plans are over the next 5 or 10 years. I got to put people on the spot sometimes.
This is a good conversation. So yeah, I mean, my goal is to get one property per year, which isn't super difficult to do. I mean, you usually have to save up for a down payment, but here in Utah, the houses are like pretty expensive. So what I did is I opened up a HELOC for my first rental property, and we have about 300 grand equity. So I opened up a 200 grand HELOC. And so I don't pay on it until I pull money out. But if I pulled money out to buy a rental property and I rent that other property out, I'll just use the money that I cash flow to pay back the loan. So it's a win-win. But yeah, that's the plan is just pull money from, a property, put it into another property, and just do this every year. And then by the time I'm 40, have 10 rental properties. If I'm cash flowing $500 a month on each property, that's $5,000. And it's not that difficult to do. So, I mean, I follow a few people that do it on Instagram. It's insane. I don't know if you guys follow Full Auto 11. He's 52, he's 51, and he's got 15 rental properties, runs them all himself. And he's making so much money. And that's all he does is just take care of his rental properties. And that'd be cool. I don't know if I want to do 15. I think 10 would be kind of a lot to take care of, but that's the goal. And then I want to make, like I always joke around, I want to make eBay my side hustle again. You know what I mean? So, because I'll never stop doing eBay. eBay is my passion for sure.
Yeah, I have like 20 rental properties, and they're all paid for in cash. So I don't have any loans or financing. But it's like cheaper houses. It's like a house that I paid like 10 grand for and paid cash and then rent it out for 650, 700 a month or something. So, you know, you can do that, but they're like dirt cheap houses when I was living in Kentucky, and you could just find them in a certain neighborhood and then, you know, some fixer uppers and fix them up and, you know, put a coat of paint on them and, you know, go in and fix whatever needs to be fixed. If the roof is leaking or whatever, patch the stuff up, and then you can fix it up and rent it out. You know, I'll put some new appliances in there, you know, put a fridge, a stove, new coat of paint in there, new carpeting, and then boom, you put a renter in there and now you have cash flow coming in. So it's something that you guys can do. Also, I'll tell you a little trick. I have a license as a real estate agent. So I don't know if this is something that you want to do, Zach, but once you have a license as a real estate agent, now instead of you having, let's say hypothetically, it's a $300,000 house. Maybe it's a $100,000 house, right? So instead of you giving that 3% commission to another real estate agent, that's less money that you have to bring at closing. You could use some of that money as equity into your house that you're buying. And so instead of you having to come up with 5 grand, 8 grand, 10 grand at closing to buy this house, you can represent yourself as a real estate agent, and now you have that extra money. You know, so let's say you were buying a house for yourself and it's a $300,000 house, right? So instead of you having to come with that 9, 10 grand in cash at closing, you just show them, say, oh, here's my driver's license, here's my ID, I'm an agent. I'm just going to use the money that I was going to get as a commission check to help cover some of my closing costs and expenses. So, I mean, that doesn't sound like a lot, but if you're doing that times 10, now you have like over 100 grand that you saved that you didn't have to bring at closing to close to buy this property. So you're basically getting a property, not for free, but you're getting it as a much reduced rate of what you would have to pay closing costs to buy that property. So I'm sorry, guys, we're a little bit off topic from reselling, but it's just important that, you know, I want you guys, like, let's say I have this video game here, and let's say I bought it at clearance at Walmart for $5 and I sold it for $50. Great, right? So now the question is, what happens to that money after you spent $5 and you turn $5 into $50? Now what do you do with that money, right? You have to be able to have some type of outlet to invest it, whether it's in the stock market or real estate. You want to have some type of investment vehicle that you're using to generate revenue, so you have money coming in. I think it was Warren Buffett said, if you don't find ways to make money while you're sleeping, you're going to work till you die. So you want to figure out other ways to generate revenue besides punching a time clock or besides just reselling. So let me say hello real quick to the Flippin' Sports guy. And I wanted to say hey to my buddy, the Cap Guy is here. If you guys haven't checked out the Cap Guy's channel, he's doing like an intro into reselling. He's going to show you guys beginning to end everything you need to know to get started in reselling. I want to give a shout out to Mookie Pookie is here in the chat, and Jennifer Hayes is here. And I wanted to say hey to Ebliss Resellers just stopped by. Hey, thank you guys for coming by. If you have questions for our guests, drop it in the chat. So Zach, this is I'm going to pick your brain a little bit. What has your life been like? How do you go about balancing your life between being a full-time reseller, a YouTuber, you're an investor because you're investing in the real estate game and you're investing in the stock market, and being a full-time parent? Because I'm good at all the other stuff, but then it's kind of like, you know when they say, I saw this guy walking around and he had a shirt and it said adulting across his shirt, and there were supposed to be 5 stars, and his had 1 out of 5 stars. So how do you balance being a full-time parent, a full-time dad, being a husband because you're married and have a family, but still you have to go out and shoot YouTube videos, do your reselling gig, you're selling books on Amazon out of your garage, you're reselling stuff on eBay, you're investing in the stock market, you have rental properties. How do you do all that without losing your mind? Tell us a little bit about that.
I think the secret is my spouse. My wife is absolutely amazing, and she's super supportive. Whenever I want to do something, because I always have minds, I always have ideas in my head. I'm like, oh, what about this? What do we do this? And she's like, yeah, let's do it. And I just love that about her, because she trusts me, and she even though I have these crazy ideas sometimes, like rental properties are super intimidating. And I mean, not a lot of people do it. And so when, I was talking to her about that, she was like, yeah, I trust you. Do it. So I'm lucky enough to have an amazing spouse. And I think including them in the business helps a lot. My son, he edits my YouTube videos. I pay him $10 a video. And I told him, I said, if we blow up, dude, I promise you we're going to split everything down the middle. And so he's super motivated. Like when we hit 1,000 subs, he was like, yeah, like we were both like super excited. And I think that's so cool because he's 13 and he's just like, we're both doing it together. And I think that's great. Like even with the books for Amazon FBA, me and my wife sit out there. I think it's best to include your family with the business because it helps. And like, if I have to go work on a rental property, I bring my son with me to come help me. And I think that's the best way because you still get that family time and you're growing together. So
yeah, man, I'm telling you, dude, if I had a newborn, I would be like a zombie. I'd have these big dark purple circles under my eyes. I'd be having to get up because I got to get like 8 hours of sleep. I can't get up every hour or two and the baby's crying and all that. But yeah, I think it's super supportive that you guys do things as a family. I was watching your YouTube video and you and your wife went thrifting together at at the thrift store. You're going through these pallets of books to resell on Amazon. You have your son involved helping to shoot YouTube videos and do editing and stuff. So you guys are kind of doing things together instead of running around doing your own thing. So that's important. But I mean, I just think it would be kind of, I don't know if stressful is the word, but it's just a lot of responsibility,
Yeah. Yeah, it is. I mean, I think it just helps to do it with the family. So you're not doing it alone. Like being self-employed, doing reselling full-time you can be alone and like it's kind of hard doing it by yourself. That's why I love social media too, is because I can communicate with people and talk to people about certain problems and stuff. But it's amazing when my family's involved in my business as well. So
all right, so Zach, you got to pull out the crystal ball here. Tell me, what is it that you see yourself doing in the next 5 years from now? Like, what is it that you would like to do? I know we didn't get a chance to talk about a lot yet, but I know you have investments in the stock market. I think it's at like what, 250,000 or something you have invested so far right now in the stock market. You have rental property. What is it that you really would like to do for you and your family in the next 5 years from now? Because I know we kind of talked about it. If you bought one rental property a year and you do that over the next 10 years and you were 40 years old, you had 10 rental properties that were all generating cash flow, you could be basically semi-retired at that point. But let's say right now we're at the end of 2021, almost 2022. What would you like to do in the year 2027? Like if you could do anything that you want to do, what would you like to do?
Well, the plan is obviously to get one rental property a month or a year. Sorry, one rental property a year. And with that cash flow, I don't know if it'd be nice to have that money to invest more, but I want to kind of splurge a little bit. So my goal right now is to get enough rental properties to cover my current mortgage. And then after that, it's just utilities, right? And then like, say I wanted to get a boat that was like $700 a month. I'll go buy a rental property that'll cash flow $700 a month to pay my mortgage or my payment for my boat. And that's the plan, is just kind of splurge a little bit. I want to live, sorry, my cat's behind me. I want to like splurge a little bit and, celebrate my 30s. And so when I'm 35, I want to have that boat. I want to have that camper and I want to have that nice car. But I want my investment properties to be paying for it. So I don't have to worry about the stress. So that's the goal.
Yeah. If you guys get a chance, if you haven't got a chance to read this book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, you should check it out. He talks a lot about, your house is not an asset. Talks about the difference between assets and liabilities. And he talks about, if you have a liability that you want to buy, instead of you working your 9-to-5 job to pay $300 a month car payments, go buy an asset and then use the capital from that asset to cover your liabilities. So I understand what you're saying. I'm here in Florida and I've been dying to go get me a convertible, but I don't want to have car payments and be paying $300, $400, $500 a month to have a convertible. Like on paper, it sounds great, but I'm not just going to go out and just go splurge and just go spend money just to go spend it. But man, there's this one car that I've really had my eye on, and I don't know if you guys know, but it's a 2018 Camaro like Hot Wheels edition, and it's orange and it has black racing stripes and it has all black leather interior and a black convertible top. And anyways, they have a special limited edition version, and there's only like 50 of them on the planet. And so I really want to go buy one, and it costs like 50 grand brand new. So I was like waiting, hoping the price would drop and I could get one on a discount. But that hasn't happened since we had this chip shortage. But the reason why I'm bringing this up, guys, is that if you can have something on the side, like Zach was talking about earlier, how he has his pilot a book business, and now he uses that cash flow from selling books on Amazon to pay his mortgage every month. If you can find some vehicle that generates cash flow to offset your expenses, you're good. You don't want to just create more expenses out of thin air, and now you have to work all these extra hours to pay those expenses, but you want to use some kind of vehicle. So like yesterday, I was up for 2 hours just researching this business, and it was a business that people had, those big ice machine vending business. And I was up for 2 hours just staying up last night reading all about it because I'm trying to learn, because I was like, man, if I had a business like that, I would generate positive cash flow. I didn't have to physically be there. Someone just shows up, presses a button, they fill their cooler up for the weekend when they're out on their boat or hunting or fishing or whatever. And, you can use that cash flow that you generated from your ice vending machine business to pay to go get you a convertible. Instead of you going there signing the papers, and now you have that money coming out of your earnest money from your paycheck every month to pay that car note. So it's just kind of thinking outside the box and looking for alternative ways of generating income. So Zach, talk to me. What would be your top 3 pieces of advice to help somebody out with their reselling business? If they're at their corporate job, maybe they want to leave their corporate job and become a full-time reseller, or maybe they just want to generate more revenue and they're like, hey, I'm here right now, maybe I'm making $1,000, $2,000 a month, and I want to increase it. I think I saw your numbers and you were at 30,000 in 90 days or something on eBay. Yeah. So go ahead and give us your top 3 pieces of advice to kind of help someone grow the reselling business.
Well, I think first thing would be broaden your horizon. So, I would check out every kind of item at the thrift store. Some people stick to just shoes. Some people stick to clothes. And I know it's difficult to just venture out. I slowly started getting into clothes, and I'm actually enjoying it because it's exciting when I find a piece of something that's worth like $60 and I'm paying $5 for it. So, that's what I think is to grow your money. You gotta venture out and try different things. Try those electronics and, try those bulky things that you don't want to sell that Tim Osborne of Thrift is selling, because he's killing it. And, he doesn't mind shipping out a microwave or whatever, If he can make $50, he'll do it. And that's why he's killing it. Another thing would be to take advantage of the discounts at the thrift store. So I know, like at the DIs, I don't know if you guys have DIs in your area, there's a coupon for 15% off clothing on the bottom of the receipt. All you have to do is do a survey online, and you can use that coupon over and over again. Goodwill has student ID discount. So if your kids are in school and they show their ID, you can get that 10% discount. And then Savers, if you donate at the front door, I don't know if it is the same in different areas, but you can get a 20% off coupon every time you donate. So a lot of the times I'll bring in 10 or 15 book duds that I got from these pallets and get my 20% off coupon. So like little things like that, saving money and making your extra money will help you in the long run. And putting in the extra work. I think it helped when I was working like 4 hours a day after my 9 to 5, because I knew the end goal was to get out of my 9 to 5. And I think it helped a lot that I was working 4 hours a day, and involve your family, because they see it every day. And if you're taking too much time doing your business, then it's going to, cause problems. So involve your family for sure.
All right. Awesome. Now, Zach, I gotta put you on the spot again. Did you get your hours yet on YouTube? I know you got your 1,000 subscribers. Did you get your 4,000 hours of watch time yet, or no?
No, I'm at like 1,000 hours. So I have like a little over 1,000 subs, but I think I have like 1,000 hours. So I'm getting up there.
You'll get there. Now, the reason why I'm saying I'm put you on the spot, because I know you. I know the way that your brain works, because I kind of like see myself in you a little bit. So I know you have like a little trick up your sleeve that you haven't told nobody yet. So what is something that's on the back burner, a project that you're working on that you haven't told anybody yet? Like, I know you got your eBay system going on. You have your eBay selling. You're doing eBay and Amazon. You have your YouTube channel. What is it that some other projects that you have working on, or things that we can expect to see in the new year or come after Christmas, where you're like, I got something that I want to do, but I'm going to wait till after Christmas is over before I pull the trigger on it. So tell us a little bit about that. I know you got something.
Well, I think the only thing, I haven't decided exactly when I'm going to do it, but eventually, like I'm planning to grow my Instagram and grow my YouTube, and I'd love to get into like certain merch that I could sell. And not to make a profit, but just to kind of share my story and stuff, and get it out there to more people and stuff. And I think that'd be really cool. And I'm not doing it anytime soon, because I want to grow both quite a bit more. But I think definitely down the road, I want to sell T-shirts and just kind of get my name out there for sure. So that's the end goal too as well.
Yeah. All right. Now, I want to talk to you real quick before we let you go. I want to talk a little bit about your investment portfolio, because Zach was able to grow his investment starting from zero at 19 years old, and now he's 29, almost 30. and he's able to grow his investment portfolio from zero all the way up to 250K. So I want to talk a little bit about that real quick on what your investment strategy is. Do you just invest, in like mutual funds? Talk to us a little bit about that. If somebody is like, man, I'm hesitant. I'm not educated enough to invest in the stock market, or I don't want to buy rental properties because I don't want people calling me at 2 a.m. over a broken toilet or a leaky faucet or something. But stock market is something I can do. So talk to me a little bit about what your strategy is. I know every month you put a certain amount of money set aside to your investments, but go ahead and talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, I think with investing, it's kind of scary. There's risk in any kind of investments. If you're doing real estate, or if you're doing just stocks, but there are less riskier things. So majority of my money is in the S&P 500. The reason is because that's spread across so many companies, 500 companies that are doing well. And so the only way it's going to drop is if, say, the market dropped, like when COVID hit. But that doesn't mean it's not going to bounce back. So it bounced back just like it always has whenever the market crashes, and goes back even higher than where it was before. So if you're scared about investing, I would put it in the S&P 500. I think 95% of my money's in there. I have about 13 grand in just single stocks that I'm kind of messing with, and I'm trying to learn more about it because I know a lot of people trade and stuff, and I like to just buy and hold. And so it's helped. So I've been investing since I was 19. And it only started with my 401k. And the only reason I did that was because they had a match. And I thank God that I did that, because it grew and grew and grew. And if you guys don't have a compound interest calculator app on your phone, download it. It will get you motivated. And I check that out all the time because it's kind of cool to see. So I think I have 220 or 230 grand in my investments. And if you put that into a compound interest calculator and it grows 10% per year, by the time I'm 60, that I'll have over $4 million, and I don't have to invest anything starting now if I didn't want to. So if you're in your 20s or in your 30s, even in your 40s, get invested, because it'll help you when you hit that, the age where you don't want to work anymore.
Yeah, guys, we can sit here all day long and I could talk to you about tips and tricks and advice to make money and sell stuff on eBay and Amazon. But it's like, do you want to do this when you're 60, 70, 80 years old? So Zach is saying that if he doesn't touch it, if he keeps his hands off of that money and you just let it compound and grow, with his charts, he's projected to have $4 million set aside for his retirement when he reaches age 60 years old to live off of. So he's not going to be one of them people having to eat dog food or something when you retire. You'd have a good little nest egg. You'd have $4 million set aside for your retirement account. So I'm not trying to give you guys, I'm not a financial advisor or a tax accountant. I just want you guys to think outside the box and be like, hey, if I just listen to what Zach said and I take, $500 a month and put it in this Roth IRA, or get my, my match at my job where I work at, and the company matches my 401k, it's just getting started. I think Dave Ramsey, they did a research, and they were trying to find out what was the biggest thing that caused people to have all this money in their retirement accounts. And the biggest thing wasn't compounded interest. It wasn't, the rate of return. The biggest thing was just actually putting money in the stinking account instead of taking the money and going to the movies to watch, the Marvel superheroes or something. It's just taking that sacrifice and saying, hey, instead of me taking that money and buying an ice cream cone, I'm going to put it and have deferred enjoyment and put money in this account. So that way, when I retire, when I'm old and gray and, I have gray hair, a gray beard like Jeff has, but by the time you're 60 years old, you'll be able to retire and you won't be stressed out. You'll have money set aside for your retirement account. Anyway, so I'm going to give a shout out to the people here in the chat. I want to give a shout out to my buddy BK from the Rockies is here. Mookie Pookie says he's smart. I wanted to give a shout out to Ebliss Reseller Solutions is here. KCP says enjoying the live, all the good questions. Hey, thank you guys for coming on and hanging out with us today. I wanted to give a shout out to the Cap guy is here, the Flippin' Sports guy. Jennifer Hayes is here, and the Hoogs. So I want to give a shout out to the Hoogs and Flippy McFlipperson. So hey guys, if you have any questions, tell everybody where they can go by and follow you and check you out on YouTube and Instagram, Zach.
Yeah, so my handle below is the same on all my platforms. But hit me up on Instagram. I love talking about this stuff, and I'm not a professional. I tell you I'm not, but I love it. And I'm going to keep doing this investing thing and this real estate stuff, and eBay will always be there. So if you guys have any questions with anything, even Amazon as well. So I'm here, and I don't mind helping.
Yeah, so I have all the links are down below. You can go by and follow our guys. Zach is here, Utahn Bought and Gone. He just hit 1,000 subscribers. So, our next goal is let's get him at 2,000. So all the links are going to be down below. So go by and give him a follow. I want to give a quick shout out here to Health and Money and Harry Briggs. I'm going to have a new guest on tomorrow. Jiggly Thrift will be on tomorrow at 4 o'clock. So if you guys want to come on and hang out with him and pick his brain, he's also a full-time reseller. We'll be on tomorrow at 4 o'clock. Zach, give us your final thoughts. If you have any final thoughts or words of wisdom you can leave our audience with, and then we'll let you go, buddy.
When you get paid on Tuesday from eBay, throw $100 in your Roth IRA. There you go.
Hey, that sounds simple enough. All right, guys. Well, all of our links are going to be down below. You can go by and follow our guest. And if you have questions, go pick his brain. All the links are going to be down below. You can go by and follow him on YouTube and Instagram. Till then, I will catch you guys tomorrow, 4 p.m. Eastern. You come hang out with our guest, Jiggly Thrift, and pick his brain and ask him 99 questions about reselling. Till then, you guys have a great day. Bye, everybody. See you later. Bye, guys.